Solo Leveling was awesome, not just as an action anime, but also as a story for character transformation. The animation was beautiful, the fight scenes were super hype, and the slower character moments were touching, but most importantly, it was completely and totally epic. I would recommend any anime fan to go watch and judge it for yourself. I'm not going to make this a very long review, and the reason for that is because when I watched this anime, I found myself not really taking it that seriously. I don't know if this is my bias or if I'm just freaking tired. Before making this review, I wanted to see what others were saying about it, so I looked up some videos. I was surprised to find that there was actually a lot of criticism. Some YouTubers had problems with Sung's speed of character growth, changing from a dorky, weak kid into a superpowered Mega Chad. Others had a problem with the fatigue system in place, showing how much stamina Sung had left at any given point in time. There were also criticisms about weak foreshadowing for the second season's Jeju Island. I'm not going to necessarily disagree with these criticisms, since they're all fair points. In fact, I've been trying to ask myself why I didn't have the same issues. Normally, I'm someone who's incredibly rigorous in story crafting and cause and effect plots. I take storytelling very seriously, and I'm a pretty harsh critic on most stuff I watch. So why didn't I feel like Solo Leveling wasn't that great? Well, I think it's because I didn't take the story extremely seriously. Solo Leveling is one of the most basic, cut and dry isekai story archetypes you could ask for. Boy is weak, boy sacrifices himself for others, he dies, and as a reward for his heroism is reborn with unlimited potential. This is pretty much the same plot structure for every other isekai, and I don't like most isekai. So why was this any different? I think I know the answer. The lone quest for power archetype often revolves around a character who sets off on a solitary journey, driven by a desire for strength, revenge, or self-discovery. This archetype usually features themes of isolation, obsession, and sometimes a descent into darker parts of the character's psyche. Characters who follow this path often struggle with inner demons, face moral dilemmas, and undergo significant, often tragic growth. I am a sucker for these plots. Characters on a lone quest for power often undergo significant personal growth that can radically change the way they view the world. They face internal and external conflicts that challenge their motivations and ethics. This often results in some sort of divine revelation about a darker aspect of the world they need to confront. But the only way to challenge this dark aspect of the world is by matching its darkness. These stories often explore darker themes such as betrayal, revenge, the cost of ambition, and the nature of power. As we all know, there is as much pain and suffering in the world as there is joy and contentment. Oftentimes, characters who set off on the lone journey do so because of some horribly traumatic event preceding their decision. Through the rest of their journey, we watch them grapple with their painful fate, carrying immense tragedy and despair. Watching a character's tragic growth can be cathartic. Seeing someone grapple with their demons and make mistakes and sometimes fall into darkness emotionally resonates with us, as it mirrors real-life struggles in an exaggerated form. We see ourselves in these characters, carrying around immense guilt, responsibility, or misery. We also find ourselves immersed in the darkness of loss and desolate loneliness. Characters on a lone quest for power often exist in a morally gray area. They are neither purely good nor evil, which can make their stories more relatable and engaging, as viewers might see parts of themselves in these characters or be intrigued by their morally complex decisions. Let's take a few examples. Light Yagami from Death Note. Light's descent into darkness is a quest for power over life and death. What begins as a seemingly noble intention to rid the world of criminals spirals into a dark journey of hubris, manipulation, and moral corruption. Light's character growth is marked by an increasing obsession with his godlike power and the tragic consequences of his actions. Many people relate with Light, even though we all know he's too far gone. Why is this? For me, it's because I saw Light's growth to that point. I know that what he's doing in his final moments of using, manipulating, and killing innocents is wrong. But that doesn't mean that I didn't root for him on his quest for creating a perfect world to rule. I saw his thoughts and intentions. At first, it seemed like he was doing society a favor, killing those who negatively affected it. But over time, he lost that initial underdog just cause, becoming intoxicated and corrupted by his own ego. Ken Kaneki from Tokyo Ghoul. Ken Kaneki begins the series as a mild-mannered student who is too nice for his own good. He's slowly integrated into the unforgiving life of a ghoul, learning the intense evil of surrounding gangs and organizations. Stronger ghouls everywhere are intent on dominating those weaker than themselves. However, Ken also learns about the darker aspects of humanity and its organizations that make even innocent ghouls' lives unbearable. After being tortured for seemingly no reason, Ken finally accepts that he lives in a cruel world, and to combat it, he must match its cruelty. Sung Jin Woo is similar to these characters. He's lived a life of poverty and desperation, especially after becoming a hunter. He only ever cared about the health and safety of his family. This is why he continued to hunt, even though every day he risked death. He needed the healthcare benefits that covered his mother's high hospital bills. I actually disagree that Sung was a wimpy coward before his second awakening. He's always been courageous and self-sacrificial for those he cares about. This is what separates him from the majority of selfish, expedient isekai protagonists, who build a life only for themselves. The character transformation for Sung was not that he gained courage, but that he accepted that he had to become more selfish. That was the great lesson he learned after he sacrificed himself for all the others, who left him on the altar about to die. It was in this moment that he learned to prioritize himself. The name of this series is Solo Leveling because Sung no longer trusts anyone around him. He's decided to take on the responsibility of growing strong on his own, leaving behind those who betrayed him. I'm not even sure he blames them. They had families of their own, so of course they didn't want to die. Even so, Sung can no longer trust those who surround him. Besides all the fantastic music, animation quality, and great coordinated fight scenes, Solo Leveling is a story about a character accepting a more cynical outlook on the world. For this second chance at life, Sung must learn to let go of his weakness and accept a colder persona, focusing all his attention on the most important people in his life. Sung never wanted to be this cold-hearted, but it was the only way to survive in this world, and that's why I like his character.